Hello, everybody. My name is Moel, and welcome to the very first episode of Minute Manga Review, the show where I review several Japanese manga that pique my interest. Today, we'll talk about the Rising of the Shield Hero manga. Now, I will explain how this episode works. I review things such as story, art style, and characters. And at the end of every episode, I score the manga out of 5. This show was created back in 2013 by Nenko Yusaga. The basic story of The Rising of the Shield Hero is that Naofumi Iwatani and three other people are summoned into a world to stop a phenomenon called the Waves. They are equipped with four very specific weapons: a sword, a bow, a spear, and a shield. Unfortunately for our main character, Naofumi is forced to take what is seemingly the most useless weapon, a shield. And from the very start, we can tell that this show is going to be very unfair to the main character, as he is chastised from the other cardinal heroes, Renamaki, the sword hero, insert Kirito joke here, Itsuki Kiwasami, glorified Robin Hood over here, and Motorola Kitsubishi. I'm surprised no one else has made that joke yet. All of whom are pretty much jackasses, who are incredibly selfish, but I'll talk about them later in the characters section. Another example is that when they get the companions, no one wants to join the Shield Hero party, making them alone, all except for Mine, or Malty. This, however, turns out to be a massive ruse, as she ends up betraying him through a false rape accusation. Yeah, this part of the show ended up getting lots of attention due because this came out around the same time as the Me Too movement. Though, keep in mind that the creator of the show actually made the light novel around 2013, several years before the Me Too movement. Just keep that in mind. Because of this, the entire kingdom thinks about the shield hero as a devil, all except for one blacksmith. So now, the literal story of this isekai protagonist is the exact opposite of the typical isekai, as he is given every single disadvantage in the book, literally. So now he has to work 4 times harder than anyone else in order to rise up in this show. Oh god, that was fucking cringy. Alright, now for the next section, the characters. I already told you about the 3 cardinal heroes, but let me elaborate. Motorola Kitsubishi is the typical dense harem protagonist that nearly kills an entire village with a monster seed, that Naofumi luckily stopped. Itsuki created a refugee crisis that Naofumi fortunately stopped. And Ren created a massive plague that once again Naofumi stopped. Mine, a literal bitch in episode 21, and King is just rubbish that pretty much screw over everyone when they get the chance. The church is even worse. For the characters that I like are Naofumi's slave, Raphtalia, who is very pure and overall incredibly innocent despite her previous involvement with other masters. Naofumi's slave, Philo, who is a literal angel, who tries her best to try to protect her master. And Naofumi's slave, Keel, a 14-year-old boy who is massively in love with Raphtalia despite the age difference, so can you really call that an age difference? And Naofumi's slave, Rishia, who is pretty much obsessive with the bow hero. As for the art style, honestly, there's not really much to say aside from it's pretty good. It has some faults to it. Like, for example, I really wish that in some parts they could be a bit more expressive, while other parts, why can't they just be more reserved? I'll create a second video about all the faults of this show, or manga, of course. This is going to be a non-spoiler type review, and I'm going to make a spoiler review later on, going into more detail. But overall, the basic gist of the show is that Nafumi has to rise up in this world. God, another cringy line. I am so bad at this. And overall has to essentially stop the other heroes from making massive mistakes while also making sure he doesn't die himself, as he is perceived to be the most strongest one after all that he's done. Overall, this manga is actually pretty well done, and I was really happy that this manga ended up getting an adaptation. Although I am very disappointed through some of the changes they made, I am still impressed with what the creators have done. Overall, this isn't perfect, but I'll give it a 4 out of 5, and I'll create a second video uh, containing much more spoilers on this show and create more topics about this. Again, 4 out of 5. I really recommend you picking up this manga, as it is really well done, well written, well drawn out, and well paced. This. Oh, and before I go, Queen is the best. And I'll see you guys next week. Adios.